our place. And it doesn't take very long, and I'm sure you've experienced this if you've stayed here for any length of time. And no matter how strong you are, when you come in off the farm with those convictions and a certain line of attack, no matter how strong you are going to be affected by this place. His whole opinion about women on film, from beginning to end, is very brief. He says, women on film, either naked or dead. Both is better. And it's like, whoa! Ooh. No, he came to see me on a rooftop in New York. I said, hey, can I talk to you? And he said, sure. He floated in, sideways, through a crowd of people. He was wearing black. And it was like one of those old vampire movies where they don't walk, but they glide. And he was a dancer, so he has he's very, graceful. Yeah. And he moved sideways, and he just sat down in a chair next to me. And it kind of frightened me. And he's a very smart guy. And we started talking, and I didn't, say much of anything about reading the script, nothing. I just started talking about the Middle Ages. And he began to talk tortures. And we swapped tortures, because I'd read this book on torture. And I tried to recall some of the most heinous things I'd ever read in this book. And he was like, oh, and he'd try and top it. And my assistant was there, and he left because he couldn't stand it anymore. Yeah. The air had turned cold. And then he left, and I wanted to leave. And because I knew that I didn't want to work with him. Yeah. And he was getting scary. Yeah. And then I turned around, and it was on top of the Peninsula Hotel. I turned around to avoid his steady gaze at one point. Yeah. And I was looking at a building with the top of the sixes on it. So there was a huge illuminated 666 in red. Yeah. And I went from that to that to that, and he started smiling. And I thought, oh no, Chris Walken is the Antichrist, When I came over here, I was in my mid-20s. Right. The first time I really came over here. I had a whole bunch of weird paranoid suspicions about what the hell was going on, because there was a lot of stuff I couldn't understand. Right. And nobody was really bothering to explain it to me.
They don't.
And and I formed a bunch of opinions about the town and about the people in it that were like, surely that couldn't be, because a whole place can't be like, Weird Town, where the stranger wanders in and all the people are in the bar and they all shut up when he looks at them, and they tell you don't go into the house on the hill. And it's like that. And then you go away and you think, no, I was wrong. I mean, that's insane thinking. I'm paranoid. I imagined that stuff. That couldn't be the reason for why so-and-so was acting like. Could it? And then you find out later on the track that you were exactly on track with a lot of this stuff. Not specifically on track, but that you could, that some of your worst nightmares were real at the time, and you think, Now this is what I mean by actually starting to swim up or downstream with the rest of the salmon, eventually, if you stay here long enough. Yeah. You'll find yourself doing that. And you have to, there's a way of doing it without doing it. That takes time. And it takes relaxation. Not being uncomfortable. Realizing it for what it is.
Projecting.
And understanding what it is. Once you understand it, well, then you're not afraid of it anymore. So you can just walk around it, through it, and then get on with what you tried to get on with in the first place. A place like this can humiliate you. And it can humiliate you, it can be humbling. I mean, it does rip your life to pieces. If you'll let it. Yeah.